going on, everyone? My name's Ryan. Welcome back to Yard Talk, episode 3. Starting our new segment, Shipyard Stories, Staff Stories. I'm here with a Shipyard legend, I believe 26, 27 years in the making. Lucky enough to call him a good friend as well. This is Bruce Elam. We're going to learn a little bit about Bruce, but why don't you go ahead and start with your name, how long you been here?
Okay, well, as you mentioned, Bruce Elam, and I've been here since 1998. So the company does have 4 years of tenure on me because they were founded in 1994. And I started off as a brewer here, brewed for nearly a dozen years. Then I segued into kind of a beer ambassador, educational, promotional role with the title of trade brewer to kind of, the formative years of craft beer. We came upon a segment where the consumer was interested in really learning about the different styles, the process, how the beer is made. And with my brewing background, I was able to kind of communicate that in an effective way that hopefully was fun and people enjoyed it. And still today, every once in a while, we haven't done tours, in quite a long time. But every once in a while, someone will come into the tasting room, remember me from, God knows how many years ago, and say, that was such a great tour. And of course, I had a lot of fun, doing the tours and explaining the process. And one of the big charges I still get, as it would be an example, is let's say I'm in the grocery store and I'm in line and I see someone ahead of me with a Shipyard product, a 6-pack or something. Wow, boy, that pumps your chest up. You feel great about that. Or if you're in a bar or a restaurant, someone orders a Shipyard, you overhear the next table over. That's the good stuff. That's the really good stuff. So, and all the different things I've done, of course, now I'm in the tasting room and I've sort of been waning my way out, over my 27 years. I like to refer to myself as a part-time old-timer behind the bar now. But it's a lot of fun engaging the customer, talking about the product, talking about some of the history, because I've been fortunate to be here for damn near all of it.
I love that. And I think my math was relatively correct. 27 years.
Yeah.
27
I'm
years.
coming up on 27, which will be, October 22nd will be my 27th year.
That's fantastic. And you've worn many hats. And
Yep.
the most recent one is putting up with us. We put you through the ringer here. And
well, you guys got a little younger than me. Well, quite a bit younger than me. You've got more energy maybe than I do. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to engage with the younger staff. They bring a new energy. The company has, morphed over the years with all the different parameters, both from our own point of view and how we conduct our business, and outside forces that have, made the development of Shipyard ever changing, and the way that's been able to be modified. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to find a little niche in when every sort of major change come up, so I could hang in there. And one of the things that you mentioned that I enjoy the most is working with the young staff. Has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have learned so much from you. And it's funny, just 10 minutes ago, Sarah, Annika, and I, we did one of the first episodes of this, and we did Yard Talk. We did staff lingo, bar lingo,
Mm-hmm.
and the pitch, and kind of funny things that we say. And you can't not. Half the things that we said, you know what? I think I stole that from Bruce. I think I took that from Bruce.
Well,
So
I like to have something a little kitschy, because the goal is when a customer comes in, you want to remember their experience here. Mm-hmm. So I'm always looking for some sort of hook with somebody to engage them in some manner, that I can have an exchange with them that'll hopefully be pleasant and memorable above and beyond the product. Our product stands for itself. I'm not really concerned about that, but they have to have a good experience. And the goal, of course, is you do that well, they're going to come back. And that's what we all want. So the flight boards are kind of fun, because I have a couple of little things we do with the flights, because when you do a flight, they're all numbered on the board, as you know. So if someone happens to order beer number 9 and beer number 11, well, then I'll show them 911. I'll say, that's a beer emergency. We got to get that into you right away, something like that. It's something that is, they get a chuckle out of it. I get a chuckle out of it. Maybe that's a little memory thing, that'll help out. Another one that I use sometimes is 7-Eleven. I say, well, isn't that convenient for the 7-Eleven convenience store? Just little things like that to engage somebody. And I have a lot of fun with, some of my hockey fan counterparts, because I'm a big Maine hockey guy. And if I see someone come in with the enemy camp attire on, a cap or a T-shirt, I've been known to kind of give them a little bit of a hard time. and I remind them where they are and how to behave. You're in black bear country here, Mr. Wildcat or whatever the case might be, or Mr. Terrier, that kind of thing. So that's all done in good fun.
Absolutely. Hey, go into that a little bit. You're probably a big reason why Shipyard's been blessed to kind of have a cool little partnership with you, Maine, and get to host the boys here before they play at
Yeah.
the
I want to give a little shout out to a co-worker of ours, Nate Garwood. When I joined the company, Nate grew up in the Orono area, was a hockey player, and he knew some of the guys and played with a few of the guys up there on occasion. He had occasion to do that. And so he was the first one to reach out to the hockey team to see if he could do a little something for them. And with the blessings of of Shipyard, he arranged the first team meal we ever provided for them in this very room. As a matter of fact, this was known as the old Hall of Fame room back in the day. And Maine would come down and play a single game here at in Portland at the arena. And he had arranged it, but he was a little nervous that first time. And he had found out that I went to UMaine and I'm a big hockey fan too. So he asked he made the mistake of asking if I would help out. And I was more than happy to do so. And we had a great time with the team and provided a team meal, and you got to meet the players and the coaches. It's an awful lot of fun. And then the next year, it was such a success that first go around that we were asked to do it again. But Nate had left the company for a period of time at this point. So I sort of took over the mantle for that. And I came up with I was given an inch, I took a mile. So I get to do and I still get to do this now, is, basically once a year, we provide, thank courtesy of Shipyard sponsorship, get to provide them with a team meal, and they have to endure my pep talk before I allow them to eat. So that's been a lot of fun. And I've done a couple of crazy pep talks with them over the years, Yeah. So it's been terrific. It's really been terrific. And of course, I'm an alum, and I was there as a freshman way back in 1978 when the program had only started the year before in 1977. So I've been fortunate enough to see practically anyone who's ever played Maine hockey. I've been able to see them, and I'm so thankful that Shipyard kind of embraced my passion, and supported me. And yeah, we're proud even to this day to continue a little bit of sponsorship with the team up there, because we just think it's a natural pairing that we should be doing that.
It's such a natural pairing. We appreciate it as a staff because we know how important it is to you, the Black Bears, right? So it's a cool dinner for us to be a part of, and of course,
you got to witness me last year. You saw me in action. You endured one of my pep talks too.
We did. Well, yeah, we see your pep talks to the customers every day. You hype them up to choose their beers and forge on their way, and then to see in action with that.
And that's the fun. And this might be a good time for a little segue of a public service announcement.
I forgot about it.
I don't know if anyone knows today, but today is National Donut Day. And so I like to say I'm just like Homer Simpson. I love beer and donuts, like Homer Simpson of the Simpsons.
What a combo.
So through my influence, I was able to wrangle a donut, and I know how to get beer around here. So I've actually paired a nice chocolate glazed donut here with our hazelnut porter.
Go ahead, lift that up. Let's see the combo.
Isn't that all right? Time out for a little bite.
Little time out for a bite. Oh
yeah, that's good.
In the hazelnut porter. Oh, tough to beat. All right, when you're finished chewing that, speaking of porters, I need to hear the claim to fame story, because I've only heard of your the plaque you have for the beer that you actually created.
This all has to start with, of course, our co-founder and master brewer, Alan Pugsley. Mm-hmm. Who was tremendously respected, well-renowned, world-renowned, not only around these parts, but worldwide, because Alan started his career at the Ringwood Brewery over in England and Hampshire, England. He is a true Brit. And he had been spreading, he learned his craft through Peter Austin, the founder of the Ringwood Brewery in Hampshire, England. They're the makers of Old Thumper, if anyone remembers that terrific beer. So Alan helped sort of spread that brewing method and system throughout the world. He had a hand in establishing nearly 100 breweries. I think he cracked the 100 mark, actually, breweries and brew pubs throughout the world, over a dozen countries, So he's tremendously well respected. So, and not only would he design and, install the systems, and he'd train their staffs on how to brew properly, with the system. And then he would also write recipes not just for all the Shipyard beers, but he also did it for lots of other folks too, that he helped start breweries with. So in the year 2007, they decided to institute an in-house program open to all the brewers to submit a recipe and go down to the Federal Jacks and brew it on the small pub system down there. And that would actually be brewed, and it would be served to the public, and the public would fill out comment cards, what they thought of the beer in question and stuff. And then a certain amount of beer was held over from the batch and was brought up here for a tasting by the big wigs, Alan included, of course. And a winner was going to be declared. And the winner would have that beer go into production under the Shipyard label, put into retail packaging in 2007 as the spring seasonal beer. And I'm happy to say that I won the first go-around of competition in 2007 with a honey porter.
There we go.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so sure enough, over 15,000 cases, I actually, all the beer I brewed, they scheduled it so I would actually brew all of my own beer for that whole, retail outlay.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know, must have been like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 batches of 100-barrel batches, that I put in that went into packaging and went out to the stores. So sort of tying beer into my hockey passion, I had some influence at that time because we've been doing things with the hockey team. And whether they liked it or not, they all knew me up in Maine. So through my connections, I was able to drink my honey porter at Alfond Arena, watching my Maine Black Bears annihilate Merrimack, 2 games over that weekend. So that was a big highlight.
Come on, what a
One of
core
the highlights of my career.
what a core memory that has
That
to
was
be.
fun.
That's
That was
incredible.
fun. And then the plaque you saw, and this was unbeknownst to me, somebody had packaged some of it up and sent it out to Australia, of all places, to enter it into the Australian International Brewing Beer Awards. And unbelievably, I took a bronze medal in the packaged porter category.
All right.
And they were so nice here at Shipyard to commemorate that. And I have the label, the neck and bio of the bottle, and some plaques that say when I won the award and what the award was. And yeah, so that was, and that was the first beer ever to go out under the Shipyard branding that wasn't an Alan Pugsley formulation. So that's quite a feather in my cap. So
That's
I
a
like
pretty.
that. I like that one.
You have many, but that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's one of my best ones.
Do you think if we threw you in a brewery, what would you need? Would you need the?
Oh my God!
the
So
bre-
this
you think
is,
you could make something happen?
So I just how you get those dreams like, oh my God, you got to take the test and
Yeah.
you're like going, oh, you have a complete blank, okay, or there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so people have those types of dreams. Well, I had them with my previous job. I was with Deering Ice Cream and making ice cream for 6.5 years before coming and making beer. So I would, every once in a while, I'd have a dream where I have to make ice cream and like I forget how to do something because it's been so long, I forget how to do this. And I said, oh, there's a problem, and every once in a great while, I have the same dream about I got to make beer now all of a sudden. And it's like, oh my God, I did this wrong. I forgot this. How do I do this again? No, I would have a little bit of a rough time, but I could be brought up to speed, if I wanted to apply myself. But so people ask me every once in a while, they say, well, because I haven't brewed for a long time and I home brewed before turning pro, if you will, when joining Shipyard. And they said, do you miss brewing? And I said, no, I've been cured, I like to tell them, because I did do the 2 a.m. brewing shift at our heyday. We were doing 5 brews a day, and a brewer's day is about 10.5 hours long, but about 2 hours or so into that, everything can be ready for the next brewer to start right behind you. Mm-hmm. So they tagged me to be the 2 a.m. brewer. That's like the start of the brew day. So I would have to, go to bed at 7 o'clock the night before, get up around 1, get in here and be brewing by 2, go home, punch out at 12:30 after making my beer, right? And then you try to have lunch, and then you would, watch what you recorded on TV from the night before because you were sleeping at 7 o'clock, and you fall asleep, and you wake up and you rewind about an hour with naps that you had, to see wife comes home at 5, you got to have dinner, you got to get cleaned up, you got to be in bed at 7 o'clock. So we had a running joke that, my wife would say, well, it's like being married to a grade school kid, you got to put you in bed like 7 o'clock, like a third grader, So, but I did that for 6.5 years. So that sort of cured me.
Yeah.
So I don't really miss the brewing,
Yeah.
like I used to, but if you think about it, I've made beer, I've sold beer, I've served beer. Most importantly, I've shared beer. Okay. So everything you can and I've certainly consumed some. So anything you can do with a beer, I've kind of done it, professionally. I guess you could say that.
That's fantastic. A true master in the game, in the brew game. We're super lucky and happy to have you here. We've all learned a lot from you. And it's the home stretch, right? The home stretch to retirement. We're at a little countdown here.
Yeah. I have my wife likes to go antiquing, and she always had special things she would look for. And so I'm not much of a shopper. She's like a super shopper. She'll go all to the bargain places. She'll make the rounds periodically. And, she's really terrific at that and finding great things for great deals and prices and things. So I got it in my head. I said, well, if I'm going to do this with her, I said, I need to kind of have my own thing to look for. So for whatever reason, I got hooked on plumb bobs, those weighted things on strings that you use to keep things square, and whether it's for machinery or whether it's for instruments or
it's like a balancing mechanism.
It was used in it was used in surveying. It has they have many applications, and because of that, they come in many various sizes, shapes, finishes, and things like this. So I got it in my mind I would start a collection of these plumb bobs, and so I found a great way to display them, sort of in a helix, all strung, down. And I like numbers. My birthday's the 29th, so I have 29 of them. No coincidence there, right?
There you go.
And so 29 months before I planned on retiring, on my 65th birthday proper, I started having the plumb bob of the month. And so every month on the 29th, as my countdown, I take a picture of it and I use it as my lock screen on my phone. And then I've been able to kind of get people excited about that somehow or other. And now I have to email my coworkers, my friends. I must have to send out over a dozen emails every 29th of every month. There are people hooked on my countdown.
It has to be. We get fired up. We get fired up when we get the plumb bob text.
It's fun.
Colby the other day, he was like, "What does this mean? What is this?" Because I had to explain to him. I was like, "Dude, you made the list. You made the plumb bob list. That's an honor, And he was
well, it
fired
doesn't go
up.
to just anybody. But
I know. He's so it's a really cool tradition you have where we're sad, but we're looking forward to celebrating you and your home stretch.
Yeah, and
here.
I'm threatening to come back, on my own terms now. During the high season when I might be needed. Actually, I'll come in, work a couple days, right smack in the middle of the week. Maybe they all come in for Wednesday, Thursday type of deal. Help you guys out a little bit from May through September, that kind of thing. Stay engaged, because what I will miss is the interaction I have, of course, with the customers and of course the staff. And it's nice to be able to come back and feel like you still sort of belong. Someone still kind of knows who you are. That's important to me. So chances are pretty good you'll have to put up with me for that May, September type of relationship moving forward.
Would love that. Would love that. Yeah, we definitely appreciate that for you too. And all right, well, that's going to conclude episode 1, episode 3 of Yard Talk, our initial staff story series with the one, the only Bruce Elam. Shout out Eli's, shout out Shipyard, shout out Sea Dog, shout out Ice Pick, and until next time, cheers.